Welcome. Geoguessr theory. Course start. Alright. Basically, I'm going to be diving into how I learned Geoguessr and what I think to be the best way to go about getting better at the game. And it involves an order I like to call the order of operations. Just like PEMDAS in math, you're going to want to follow this order very strictly. Now, the reason I came up with this is because it is the order I kind of went in, and I studied each of these different aspects of the game one by one, mastering them all, and afterwards moving on to the seventh and final aspect, which is impossible to master, but we work on it every day. So we got the acronym, just like PEMDAS, but I got Becurles here, alright? So what it stands for: bollards, car meta, yellow plates, language, road lines, signage, and finally environment, which is the hardest of the seven. And they're not exactly an easiest to hardest order, but I like to start with bollards because, you know, these motherfuckers on the side of the road, you're gonna want to know what each and every country's bollards look like. In my opinion, it's the most satisfying thing to get a country, just because you see one of these on the side of the road. You can immediately determine what country you are in. So for example, I picked 6 of the most prominent bollards here, and you can like pause the video if you need to, stop on these, but these are unmistakable examples that I find where if you see these, you can guarantee you're in that specific country. So these are kind of blurry images, but you can clearly see here, we got the German, French, Polish, Australian, Thailand, and Ecuador bollards. So if you look, you see the French one, the second one I have here, very easy to distinguish from the rest of them. Some of the other ones can look similar to someone who's new to the game, but as you progress, you'll realize that there are qualities of these that you know, would not be able to be mistaken. So if you look at the German one, you'll find a bollard similar to this in a lot of locations in Europe. But the German one is only in Germany, and it's because that strip, this little rectangle we have here, is white. In other countries in Europe, this will be a different color. It'll be different shades. There's countries where this is red, like Croatia and I believe North Macedonia, as well as some Italian places have that. In Spain, it's yellow. Some places in Germany, it is also orange. And then that orange one is shared with Lithuania. But if you see it and it is white, that guarantees Germany. There's a variation of this one where it's gray. That one can be seen in Luxembourg. So it comes down to just playing the maps over and over again. I like to do, what I like to do is play one country at a time. I started with Europe as my first continent for mastering bollards because Europe, the bollards are always going to be there. You're always going to be able to find bollards in Europe. It's the continent where they're the most common, and they can be mistaken for each other. But as you work on it more and more, you'll realize that each country kind of has its own type. And once you figure that out, and you see a bollard, you can breathe a sigh of relief knowing you know exactly what country it is just because of that, which is just amazing. As you can see here, we got German, French, this Polish one, which looks similar to the German. It's the same style and shape. However, you replace the black with a red strip and you keep the white inner one, but it's angled a little bit. And then the back, that band looks completely red. Australian can be confused with the Turkish one, but this is a little bit thinner. This one is unmistakable as well. The Thailand one is the only cement looking one, and you'll find these fatter cement ones in Thailand a lot, and sometimes they have white stripe going through it, but not always. The Ecuadorian one is my favorite because I actually think Ecuador is one of the hardest countries in the world to guess. So seeing it is just an absolute lifesaver because you know you don't actually have to worry anymore about what country is this? Is this Brazil? Because, you know, Ecuador can look like Brazil a lot. No, not in this case. You see the bollard, you immediately know this shit is Ecuador. So that is the first thing I recommend mastering. I have this page here, but there's more examples. I would just get into by starting with Europe. Just playing each European country and noticing, hey, what do the ballers look like? Secondly, car meta. This is actually not entirely easy, but one of the most OP things you can learn ever. So we'll go on, and I have a similar page to last time with some nice info here. So as you can see, in the upper left corner, we got the Ghana car, known for its black tape, and as well on the front you can also see there's a little bit of a red sticker, and just they used a really weird car in Ghana. It's got like stickers and decals in the front. You won't notice that in any other one. So this was the first car meta I learned, and I've never forgotten it since. I don't think Ghana's been remapped, so you'll always see this one and you'll always get it right as soon as you know this. Just a lifesaver. My favorite, Kyrgyzstan car, because I just love getting Kyrgyzstan. It's a really unique looking country, but the car makes it so much easier. It's got that gray thing with the headlights visible and the square headlights. Don't get it confused though for Guatemala, because that one has round headlights that are visible and it's just a different shaped car. But if you see that, you know you're in Kyrgyzstan. And same with all these other ones. These images are of the car, and if you see them, you can guarantee you're in that country. 100% certain. And in Kenya, there are a couple of variations of it. They use different cars, but this snorkel is the reason I screenshotted it, because that is only in Kenya. You'll never see a snorkel in any other country for whatever reason. I'm not entirely sure, but this is not in every Kenya image, but its presence guarantees Kenya, so take it that as you will. And out of these, I felt like I needed to describe Dominican Republic the most, because simply it's not as obvious as the others. It can look like some other cars. This guardrail, so you'll see a lot of cars with these things jutting out, these metal sticks, and this one is the only one with a thick black line through the middle. If you can see in the Ghana car, it's got a line, and that line is kind of thin, and it's just like a little divot into the pole. But if you look at the Dominican Republic one, it is like a rubber, thick black line. That guarantees that you're in Dominican Republic, as well as this this front, but it can be difficult to distinguish that from other cars with a white front, so just keep in mind this side thing guarantees that you're in Dominican Republic. I felt like I wanted to include that one on this page just because my friend, who's really good at Geoguessr, he's been learning for a while, still gets this country confused, even though you should not. It should be easier. You gotta look at the side every time just to be sure if you're in this Dominican Republic. I do it every time, but I can understand getting it messed up. So I'm gonna move past this and end the video, but this is a final location just to help guide like what you might want to look at. So on the left, all the countries I think that have very easy distinguishable cars. So you can look down, the Google car has its own appearance. They're in no particular order, but they're all somewhat easy to figure out and remember. And then on the right, I have some more suggestions for what to look at next. Chile has a white front of the car, and occasionally there are some metas, like I believe a stick on the window in one road, or like when you get more northern by some certain mountains, the front of the car looks a little bit different, but it's always white in Chile, so that does help. And the last one I'm going to explain here, Mexico, Brazil, Ecuador, Colombia, you'll see a little stub on the front of the car, a little antenna, and antennas are common in a lot of European countries and elsewhere in the world, but this one is very short and kind of fat looking, so those 4 countries are able to be determined by that. So, alright, I will be making a second one. If you guys want, I can go into the rest of the bullet points, but for now, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.